Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Game of Thrones Song of Ice and Fire campaign after the fire. We are back for our second episode of the season. I am looking forward to it muchly, and I have assembled a wonderful group of human beings to play it with me. I am a little phased because I went out in the real world today, and I'm not used to doing that. I'm much more used to this kind of thing. So we have resolved to only talk and not roll any dice and not have to think about the rules. So we'll see how that works. At some point, I'm sure I will call for a dice roll and be inspired in how to do the numbers good. Let's go around, have a little chat with everybody. First of all, Amelia Tyler, can we chat to you first? You're next on my overlay, and we're probably going to get to Tom last because he's probably just getting back from his blowing his nose or something. Oh, he's coming back. He's coming back. Here he is.
Yeah, he's back.
He's back. We're live, Tom.
Oh, okay.
Please do not swear.
Live on Channel 4, yeah.
Awkward.
Millie, how you doing? You as phased by the real world as I am?
Yeah, massively.
Fair.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm all good. I've just been doing that job I do that I can't talk about most of.
Very cool.
Which makes these intros really fun.
Been locked in a booth.
Yeah, pretty much.
What's the weirdest thing you've had to say recently that you can share with us?
I can't talk about anything that I've done recently at all.
Was it all the B-roll stuff where you have to make like grunt noises? Have you had to do any of that recently?
Nothing recently, but doing like grunts and running sound effects is always fun because especially if you're running in fear, you get to play a fun game called Are They Enjoying This Too Much or Not At All? Because it sounds the same. Yeah, it's really easy to pass out if you're hyperventilating for large periods of time.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, I've almost gone a couple of times during a recording session, getting good at recognizing signs, but none of that
I'm gonna sit
at
down
the moment.
for a second.
Yeah, but that's why working on Baldur's Gate is so nice because I get to actually sit down and
well, because you're
for 4 hours
narrating rather than having to play the running or sex game. Yeah.
The running or sex game. That's you've just broken my NDA, Sam. Next game I'm in, the running or sex game. That
coming out next
bad,
from THQ, the running or sex game. Amazing.
That's it. My career's over.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You'll always
That's
be
all right.
welcome here.
Yay!
Next, let us speak to the wonderful Virginia Page. How are you, my friend?
Hey, I'm good. I too have been out in the real world, so I get it. It's weird as fuck.
People have
Going out.
depth, like physical depth, and I'm not used to that anymore.
Yeah, no, and like
It's very
there are
strange.
there are still places, shops exist and are open, and like
Oh,
What's
Central
physical
London.
depth?
I went to see folks who were actually listening in and didn't work in the green room with us. I went to see Dune today, basically with the company Modifius. We make the Dune role playing games, so we kind of went as a kind of company trip. We went to the Leicester Square View, and Central London. It's just a fucking cattle market like it was before. No masks anywhere. It's a fucking shit show, and I was like,
that is
you.
Central London.
yeah. I don't know where you went, but
I mean, I went to Romford because got new shinies.
ink shinies.
Ink shinies, where surprisingly lots of people are wearing masks.
Well, Romford's a cattle market for different reasons.
Yeah.
To be fair.
That's one way to put it.
It's a very niche joke for the likes of you, me, and probably James who's listening, but that's about it. That's literally about it. No one else cares or knows. Anyway, cool. I love your new ink. It looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, although I can't rest my arm anywhere now. I didn't think about this, and all I do all day is sit at a computer now. So I'm just like, I now have to like just have my arm hovering off the desk, which I'm sure won't give me shoulder pain in a week.
It's awful when you don't think through stuff like that, right? Stuff that's crucial for your job. I remember getting 2 ear piercings. I turned up for a gig like really early years back, and I just decided to kill some time and get some helix piercings, and then ran into the job ready to go and like, no.
Oof.
Yeah.
So arm with a fresh tattoo must be hellish.
Yeah, I mean, it was worse yesterday when it was like oozy, because that happens because your body's like, we don't need all this extra ink. So like you wake up in the morning and your arm's still wrapped in cling film, you're like, gross. But thankfully that's passed. But yeah, I have the fun of like working out how not to constantly rub this up against clothing for the next week.
I'd like the
Yeah.
word Uzi added to our banned list. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Yeah, that's
I
going
thought
on
you meant
our
the gun
lines
to
there.
start with. I thought you were talking about you had a gun tattooed on your arm. I'm like, that doesn't sound very. Oh no! Oh no, that's worse.
My Lara Croft obsession for TR3 has not quite gone that far yet.
Quite. Not quite.
But no, I'm afraid, chat, by the way, because I've seen I saw the title of this episode and immediately my head went, Sam, excuse me, what?
I crowdsourced it. I couldn't think of anything, but it will make sense. It will make sense. I promise.
I don't want it to. It's okay if it doesn't. I'm okay with it not making sense, Sam. I'm okay with
Okay.
it just being a cool title, you know?
Okay.
And so I may need to call you in for that like rescue thing you seem so keen on. After all,
Look at his non-committal response.
That's just Enzo all over, isn't it?
it's fair. Yeah,
Kind of is. Yeah. It
he's
kind
probably
of
in the
is.
middle of a run. He's busy.
Yeah. Well, please all welcome back, Charlie. Hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
How are you doing?
Hello. I've returned. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited. I haven't been on a
Nice.
stream for like 10 months with a camera on. It's terrifying.
Nice.
I have a face.
Yep.
Don't know how I feel about it.
You do. You feel about
Pretty face. It's a very pretty face.
it. You get him. You got him.
I did, right? I was going to take a drink.
Phenomenal.
You're welcome, Tom.
Oh man.
I'm
Are you streaming
ready.
without a cam at the moment?
I've done
Yeah,
a
I've missed it.
couple,
Done a
but
couple.
I haven't done a lot. I feel like
That's
I'm
fair.
gonna do some more, but it's been a busy time, and I was super sick with an ear infection for a while, and just
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
not
you
feeling
said.
it. That's why we've got the over the heads. Like, I still can't do the in-ears right now.
Yeah.
Still a bit sore, so yeah.
Nice.
But I found
Well-
my wig,
Yeah.
or a wig.
A
It's
wig.
actually the Marcia wig. It's close, but
I said it before. It
die-hard
fooled
fans who were here from the beginning won't know.
me. Well, if ear infection or no, I'm really, really glad you're back with us. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna see because I asked everybody their kind of dramatic question for the season. I want to know what they wanted to get or know about their characters, and my question of the season was what happens to Fox Hollow. So I'm very glad that you're with us. Also glad that they're with us. Tom, hello, friend. Did you like
Hello.
the segue?
It was well done, that was.
Yeah.
That's almost like professional radio, that.
No.
Almost. Almost.
And you're not well. How are you
No,
feeling?
I'm not well at all. So I'm suffering from a post-LARP lurgy thing that you do. I went to a LARP on the weekend.
Very
and,
nice.
Suffering
Mm.
for it. But, you know, a little lurgy isn't going to keep me from after the fire because
Dosed up and ready to go.
I think Millie would kill me.
Bit of milk of the poppy and you'll be reet, mate.
mm.
Did you know that paracetamol is technically a poison?
I'll roll.
You're
So
not
yeah,
wrong.
so I
Did
basically
you know
just-
that LARPing is basically a poison?
God, I felt that.
yeah,
But so are
Yeah.
conventions, so you know.
everything.
Yeah. Human contact is basically a poison.
It is
At
nowadays.
this point, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So now I'm totally. I took some paracetamol. I got a load of tissues and water and a mute button. So if I feel a little, well, if I look a little awful, which I already do, and a little foggy and stuff like that, I do apologize. And if you can hear the sniffles and the coughing, and it's going to be gross. So I
It's
do
all right, mate.
apologise.
The great spring sickness is right around the corner, and we need a patient zero. So yeah,
I'm down.
You're
I'm
in.
down for it.
You got the
Patient
job.
Zero. I don't have the endurance to survive the plague.
No,
No.
no, that's a lot of dice.
Yeah.
Diseases are weird rules as written. It just takes off dice until you die or something strange. I can't remember what it
Jesus.
is now.
Yep.
It's a bit odd.
As long as I know a
Uh,
good healer, I just happen to know a good healer.
Well, luckily, yeah, you're on the way, right? Cool.
Mm.
All right. Well, let's kick off there, actually, because the first person I wanted to see from a POV is Enzo. Let me get my music going now that we're doing that. See if it's a bit too loud. Should be okay. I've been equalizing these.
Just volume.
Yeah,
Everyone is
you guys
fine.
can always adjust your volume. I'm trying to equalize it a little bit back here as well because we'll use the desktop
Right.
Audio on my stream. What's the max? All right. Just enough so that if we go silent, there's a little bit to fill the space. All right then. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So, Enzo. You find the welcoming sight of a tavern on the border of the Tarly and Greenmont lands. Unfortunately short in terms of its welcoming atmosphere, because once you enter, take some seats, surrounded by friends that you have along for the ride, you can sense immediately the atmosphere has kind of turned a little sour in their eyes, kind of looking between each other. There are some paranoid eyes looking around the room, as well as the usual kind of frivolity, laughs and stuff like that you would expect in a small tavern like this on a thoroughfare through the Reach, is just absent. And there is hushed discussion, as well as some couple of kind of loud knights, probably, or maybe men-at-arms in the corner speaking. And you can overhear what they're saying. They're, shouting, kind of not quite shouting, but speaking loudly between each other, arguing about what the truth actually is. They're holding Lord Leo to the end of a lance, you see, right? And if he moves, then the lance drives him through. And then there's someone shouting, no, look, they've thrown Lord Leo in the dungeons and they're keeping him there. And then there's other people kind of chatting and speaking in low, hushed tones. They've killed Lord Hightower, or was it the young Lord Peak? And there's kind of slaps and kind of no's, and there's some confusing rumor going around. There's a barmaid who is chatting to a couple of other kind of men-at-arms with no heraldry to speak of, and you particularly, actually, having just a glance around, don't see, at least in here, any green and red or green, black and gold colours that would be distinctive for either the Tarly men or Greenmont men. Mm-hmm. But the barmaid's discussion is around marriage, and she's saying that, well, see, Sir Samwell's married an Oakheart girl, strengthened the alliance. And then there's a man-at-arms who's kind of shouting, no, you idiot. Well, she was married to Sir Alistair, who got thrown in the Red Keep jail, and now she's married to Samwell, and it's a marriage of love. You see, she had a political marriage before, and he's kind of going off on that. And there's kind of general murmurs of the feeling that the Tullys are starting to hold the realm hostage. It's definitely a vibe, as I described, of both men, women, just people looking about, not saying it aloud, not asking, not saying the name Blackfyre, very few saying the name Targaryen, but everyone is looking at each other, just trying to gauge, based on their discussion, their responses, which side people may lie. As you look around the room, you can see that, because there are quite a few travelling people, there's maybe a merchant in the corner, a couple of musicians or storytellers as well. There's a whole gaggle of people here, all carrying, definitely for their own protection, some arms, some men-at-arms in some armour, whether they're caravan guards, whether they're actually men-at-arms without any banner, without any tabards or any colours. But there is definitely a very different atmosphere in here than the frivolity of the tourney up at Fox Hollow only a couple of months ago.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
I would like to drink. So, I am going to take a seat, maybe in a table with my companions, quite, in the distance. Maybe not this time. I haven't come in flaunting or anything. I've got kind of probably a travel cloak over me, trying to keep me as inconspicuous as possible. which isn't easy for me, but if I'm not flaunting it, hopefully they're not going to bother looking. And I am probably going to ask... I'll probably ask Marley. I'll give him like a few silvers and tell him to either grab me some wine if they have any wine, and if they don't, just grab anything that's vaguely alcoholic for us, and bring it back to the table.
All right, knock a silver stag off, and he brings you back a couple of kind of carafes of wine, a white and a red.
Oh,
because he's clever like that.
yeah.
People might fancy one or the other.
Yeah.
And with a silver,
First.
you've got some good stuff too.
That's good. That's what I'm hoping for.
You don't get any change, as you think already from your experience of being in conflict, from your experience, or at least of being around wider warfare, and knowing about the kind of economics of that, prices are already starting to go up.
Okay. I'm going to, after we sit down, and they're all around, my companions are all around, he's probably going to tell them to mingle.
Mm-hmm.
I want, just listen, talk to people around. I want to essentially just gauge, like, if I can get any more information, like, how close is this pub to open hostilities, like a fight then and there? How close are we to hostilities? I mean, I could just have a look to see. You know what? I'll have a look myself. I'll have a look. They can mingle if they want, go into the room, but I'll have a look myself, just sitting down, see if a slight nudge would be enough to
Absolutely.
start a fight.
Roll me awareness empathy.
Awareness empathy. Okay. Ooh, come on. Here we go. Okay, that's 28.
So, while no one wants a fight and is being openly aggressive, it could just take one wrong move, one thing missaid, and the whole place could kick off.
Interesting. Okay. Enzo's kind of gonna start helping himself to quite a considerable amount of wine. And he's probably fuck it, why not? So he's kind of gonna take off his cloak so everyone knows it's him. And he's gonna kind of like, step on the table. And he's gonna go, "Ladies and gentlemen, it is so good to see you all here in this little inn, tavern, pub, whatever you want to call it. I am Enzo Sal." And he'll do a flourishing bow to everyone around, and he'll look up to see if anyone gives a shit.
So let me ask you, how much are you drinking to excess?
Getting drunk.
Okay.
He's getting drunk. And he'll... Now I understand there are rumors going around of what happened, what is going on in the Reach, and what happened at Hornhill. I can understand that you all wish to know, eh? Well, let me buy you all a drink, and I will give you a first hand of what happened at that glorious wedding. And I'll throw a load of silver to the bar and make sure everyone gets a drink.
Okay.
To make sure all attention is on me. So I'll just say I'll do 10 silver.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make sure they can get
absolutely.
the good stuff if they
Yeah,
want
I
it.
mean, it's basically open bar at this point.
Yeah. And he's basically going to kind of like There's no music, is there? There's no minstrel things, is
There
there?
are a couple of singers towards the back,
got
eyeing you and
musical
keeping
instruments?
quiet.
Okay. And he's going to kind of jump down and kind of head over to the musicians and give them a silver stag
Mm-hmm.
and go, follow my lead. And, like, so just let him go, whatever. And he's going to go, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to tell you the tale of the Harrowing of Horn Hill. And he's going to go into a tale, as Enzo does. He's kind of like, he's exaggerating everything. So he's saying the wedding is just absolutely beautiful, it's gorgeous. There was crowds there, and there was food, and everything's exaggerated. And he kind of starts it off as a kind of like a beautiful and vibrant wedding. That everyone is happy. At the time he was, and he's telling it, and he's sipping as he's telling it because his throat gets parched. So he's getting probably progressively more drunk as the story keeps going, until it kind of like switches. So it's all merry and happy, and then he switches to how it starts to all go wrong, how the music suddenly becomes like more sullen and dull, how like it's almost like the light itself starts to dim and turn to a shade of red, and the cheers and dancing start turning into screams, as it's no longer a dance of joy but a dance of death, as people around him just get stabbed by the Tarly guards. And he makes it really bad, like women, children just innocently just being stabbed and getting butchered right in front of his eyes. How that kind of like he'd big him up. I don't think he'll big up any lord. He'll kind of like say some fight and fought, but they didn't. They couldn't do much against it because everyone was unarmed apart from the Tarly guards. And he will say how that overlooking it, there was Samwell with a smirk on his face as the blood just starts to decorate the hall, and on his shoulder, reeled in shadow and kind of mysterious and mystical, his new beloved wife, with kind of like half her face in shadow, but the scarred face is the one that's actually being shown. The other half, one of beauty, one of horror, is there. And how she's just kind of like got her arm on his shoulder, and she's like whispering things to him as he smiles and smiles. And he kind of like wants to emphasize the fact that something mystical is happening here, some kind of witchcraft and everything like that, is kind of to kind of really amp it up.
Yeah.
And then he finishes with a kind of like he kind of like heroically kind of dances out and gets out through the window, and how he's able to escape and everything. And he finishes, and he kind of like expresses to everyone to spread the tale, tell your friends and family of what happened, that everyone should know the harrowing of Horn Hill, so that it may never be forgotten.
So I want you to roll deception for me. Deception bluff. And because you're quite pissed by the end of this performance, you're going to take -2 penalty dice to your test.
Okay. In that case, I'll probably use a test die and a bonus die as well,
Okie dokie.
because my deception isn't particularly good. And I'm kind of fucking like pissed out of my mind. Wait a minute. Hang on. Can you just tell me what destiny points do again?
We house ruled them a little bit. Someone with the cheat sheet can help me out here. They should be roughly the same for all modes of like challenges and combat and stuff. I think we got rid of the automatically passing a test thing.
Oh, here we go. So to spend is 1d to a test. Oh, I see. Destiny point burns at a +5 to your test result.
Yes, because that is kind of better than a keep die. It guarantees you something.
Okay.
And so it's 5 is basically another 2 degrees of success if you get it. If you can nail it on the
Can I hold a destiny point, or do you want me to say now whether or not I burn it?
I want you to say now whether you burn it or not.
I'll burn it.
Okay.
Okay, I'll burn a destiny. Ooh. 11 plus 5, 16, and -2, 14.
14?
Yep.
Okay. You, by the end, think you might fall over, but you manage to find your feet just as you step down a couple of steps off the table and back onto the floor, the stone floor of the little tavern. And there isn't an applause. You look around, and a bit, because you're drunk, it's almost as like your brain is a little bit along for the ride, but in the back of it somewhere you recognize that there are some horrified faces who are here. Some stern looking, as if they believe you, but they're aware this is a tale and they don't want to take it so much at face value, or just they don't want to believe it, maybe. Something about it as well.
At the end of it, I'll buy everyone else a drink then. Again.
Yeah. Would you want to try and change the mood up, or just try and keep everyone civil?
No, I want them feeling like that. I want them to feel and kind of think on what I've said, and let them think whether like they're, like what actually I want them scared. I want them basically scared that this actually could potentially happen. That this actually happened. So yeah, I'll keep them scared. So like I'll give everyone a drink, because I'll end it with something along the lines of, enjoy this last drink, because war is coming and it could be all our last. And then I'll down the drink and then get down and then head over to my companions and kind of like
Cool.
do that. Oh yes, I did forget. Thank you. That with Samwell, I did mention that he was like the Tarly Butcher as well. I forgot to add that. Sorry, foggy mind. I did have it all kind of figured out, but my head. But yeah, I did make sure that it said the Tarly Butcher in it as well.
Yeah. So a name that haunts him from his past has come back.
Yep.
To haunt other people.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get the feeling, you don't know if it's your drunkenness or not, you get the feeling that people have understood. And that they are exactly how you want them. Paranoid, scared. Even though the kind of men-at-arms, men can be like when they try and look tougher, or they try and toughen up. But really they're scared deep down. And the barmaid looks like she's just trying to get through another night, but with this kind of added weight to it as well. And no one is like particularly looking round anymore. But there is still kind of people keeping to themselves, and a kind of, like I said, a kind of worry.
Okay. Good. In that case, as the night continues and Enzo gets progressively more drunk, he is going to see if there's do they have inns in this tavern or inn or something? He's going to see if he can get an inn for everyone, but everyone in his party. Doesn't matter if he has a room for himself. Two will do. He'll have one, the others will have the other. See if there is an inn that they could rest at or carrying on.
Yeah, I think this is a basic establishment, so there aren't a lot of rooms upstairs. They would be kept for noblemen or rich merchants or the like, and so there's more kind of I don't know, stabling, and quite a few people would kind of bed down almost next to the horses, just getting some straw for themselves and stuff. And there might be a couple of kind of little outhouses for a bit of glamping, but that's about it. But from who you can, you get rooms. Do you go out of the way to not have one yourself and give people rooms, or are you looking after your own as well, first and foremost?
So basically, I just want me and my companions to have rooms. And so I'm going to get 2 rooms if they've got them.
Mm-hmm.
I will have one, and my companions will have the other.
Mm-hmm. Sure thing.
And then that's it. Everyone else can fight for themselves if they really want to. I don't care. But yeah, I want it like that.
Sure thing. All right.
How much would you like? Because I am not above bribing to get a good room.
Oh, okay. Well, for a good room, take off a silver stag. For a kind of accompanying room, just take off kind of 7 copper or something.
I'll give them 2 silver stags.
Okay.
So, give us I'll give 2 silver stags. Have some food ready in the morning with, I don't know, like another bottle of wine that I can take with me.
Okay. Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah.
All right. Faye. We're going to move back up the hill a little bit. Back up to Horn Hill. And in that keep, you remain. Still have the run of the keep itself. You still have your quarters. And are under still somewhat house arrest, but are able to enjoy the grounds, even though, as per your experience the last few days, the guards are everywhere, posted in strategic locations, corners, and stuff like that. But you do have an opportunity, at least, to move around a bit and to speak who you would like to, in as little privacy as you're allowed.
I would always have Sir Dennis with me, or at least a few steps behind me. He'd be keeping an eye on me throughout this, because we haven't been apart since the wedding. And I think I think the guards would probably have been briefed about this. That Lady Faye and Lady Casella were allowed to take a walk somewhat more privately around the gardens just because of their standing. Samwell is in on the fact this is going to happen, so I can't imagine he would make it difficult.
Yes, that's true.
So they're just going to go for a nice walk around the gardens, whatever those are at Hornhill, as privately as possible.
Yeah.
And with with her son as well.
Yes, yeah, with Lady Casella's son, Peter. You are challenged first when you want to walk off alone. However, the young guard in question is stopped by his sergeant, and then lets you, Lady Casella, Little Lord Peter, and Sir Dennis walk into a small private garden.
Looks like childhood acquaintances are still good for something.
My lady?
Yeah. Samuel and I were friends when we were young. We were betrothed for a while, and he still holds some affection for me, I suppose. It's the reason I'm still here.
Cannot help but notice, my lady, that we are more alone than I have been in the last 2 weeks. Surely you must move to speak to me for some reason.
Well, yes. I have managed to use my influence with Samuel to do something I think will be of benefit to the realm. But the privacy we are enjoying is crucial, I believe, and it won't last long, so we should... I've managed to convince Samuel to ransom you back to Highgarden to rule in Lord Leo's stead. You know how it will be there at the moment and the danger that the kingdom is in, and unless I have judged you completely wrong, unbeknownst to Samuel, you are exactly who we need in that chair. I do hope I haven't displeased you in this. I still consider myself your husband's most loyal follower, and I have to make all this mess count for something.
She continues to just stare at you with a stern look, giving away nothing.
I think it is clear now that we cannot trust them. Guest rights and everything that comes with it mean nothing, so we must work creatively. And, my lady, I have means of continuing communication with you when you are back at Highgarden. Maybe I can continue to give you information that could be useful to stop all of this. And I've blamed myself for having spoken highly of Samuel. To Lord Leo, perhaps if I had not, he would never even have come here, and I see it as my duty to the kingdom to at least make up for that. I would gladly have faced Samuel's blade if he'd been man enough to... But he would not, and he couldn't seem weak in front of these men. So here I am, and it has to be worth something.
Here you are, having found yourself saved from the ramparts, tucked away neatly, safe, under no real jeopardy. And so you'll have to forgive me, my lady, if I question your assertions.
Feel free. Question away. But you and I both know that I am not safe here. Nobody is safe. We are safe only for as long as Samuel thinks that us continuing to be here serves his ego.
Millie, what test would you like to make here?
This would be a convince, I believe.
Yeah, you want to go on the offensive? Cool. No problem.
Yeah.
I think she's going to consider.
But before we do this, we have to roll will test.
For your paranoia?
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
So just a flat will test? Yeah.
Courage. If you have any bonus dice in courage.
I don't believe so. No, I don't.
Okay.
$15. Okay.
Do you know the difficulty from
Yeah, it was
from
a
the
12.
description? It was
I
a
had to
12.
hit.
Lovely. So the negative modifier is not going to affect you, is it?
No.
Or
It's not.
lovely. Okay, cool. So you're nice and composed, and you've come in and you're pleading your case to Lady Tyrell. So yeah, please make your convince test. Have a little check over, make sure your benefits are being
Yes.
applied. We always
Okay,
forget
so-
that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So my persuasion test signal 1 DR of her disposition,
Okay, cool. Yeah.
and I add +2 to whatever this is, and I'm going to use one of my bonuses from the screen.
Okie dokie.
19.
Very nice. So she's going to consider as her action, so I don't need to roll anything. I'm just going to check. She's on here. Was it a 17 total?
No, 19 total.
19 total. Very good. So that is 2 degrees of success. So what is your will rank?
5, so that's 10.
Whew. Some mental arithmetic that I was not prepared for. Yes, I have done that right. Go me. Cool, okay. You can see that she, for all of her bravado, is just at the wrist and the right hand just beginning to shake ever so slightly. And she is fighting back tears that are beginning to well up in the corners of her eyes.
I'll clasp my hand over hers.
She yanks it away. She turns away from you. She walks towards just some flowers that anything nearby that she can kind of be closer to than you. And little Lord Peter walks up to her, and as you know, the little kind of 5-year-old isn't quite taking in really what's going on, but it's kind of that empathy, that understanding of kind of the feelings at hand, and so he kind of clings to his mother's dress, and she holds her left hand out around just the back of his head, just to kind of hold him in a light embrace. And she turns around and she says, "If you were one of my husband's most trusted allies, then where were you when I needed to plead for his life?"
I had been drawn into a side room by the Lady Mara, who knew that her husband still had affection for me and did not want him to appear weak by failing to behead a woman. Because he knew if he put that sword to my throat, I would do exactly what your husband did. And he wouldn't have the balls to strike the blow. So Lady Mara did what Lady Mara does, and concealed the truth and squirreled me away so that I couldn't make a scene, because I would have. And I intend to.
She looks at you for a second, finally meeting your eyes again, and then she looks down as if in just giving herself a moment to daydream, possibly, and she says, "We are in dawn, and I had a spear in my hand. This would have finished a lot differently."
You and I?
No. But we are not in dawn any longer.
That's...
I have learned that over the last few years. And so, with the tactic available to us, and to you specifically now then. And she walks forward towards you, leaving Peter, holding him back with a gesture at the fence, and she walks up to you, very close to you now, and she's got the kind of stride and the gait of it's quite a masculine gait, and this is speaks to something of the kind of Dornish nobility as well, that she's got a kind of forthrightness and a forthright nature that you would find a lot in kind of noblemen. She gets very close to you, and she says, just almost in a whisper, "Then why don't you use your charms and get between them, like she's so feared of?"
Just a slight smile tickles the corner of her mouth just for a second.
She interrupts, but she barely holds it in. But she just says, "But you have to do something."
I understand that the ways of going into battle in Dawn are a little more immediate and brutal. But my father raised me for my mind, and my form of combat is just as brutal. I must simply bide my time. I would not have been put in the position in your husband's court that I was if I did not use my mind to its best advantage, and I still consider it my highest asset. It's the reason I have not had to wed. But believe me, I will be doing everything in my power to slow, eliminate, or unravel the plans that are going on at the moment in this place. But they must happen at the right time, as must any attack.
Please choose wisely, because the sands of time are ebbing away.
Yes.
What test would you like to make?
This is still convinced. She's just going straight out, like, honest, cards on the table.
Sure thing.
So again, this is ignoring 1 DR at the disposition and a +2. That's 16.
16 is 1 degree of success, so that will be 5. And you have convinced her. What have you convinced her to do?
I've convinced her to allow herself to be ransomed back to Highgarden. And to maintain communication with me secretly so that I might guide her as to how we move next. I think at the same time, I would be making promises that I would be looking after her son while she is not here.
And when a guard returns, she, not very skillfully, but she changes the moment. She takes your arm, loops hers through yours, brings little Peter along, and begins a kind of coded chit-chat that basically says that she will wait for your instruction.
I think tagged on to the end of that, Faye would launch into this seemingly light-hearted story about how when she grew up with her brothers, she never liked lying. She didn't like the way that they would just tell fibs and get away with things. She's never been comfortable with it. But they taught her a way to minimize her discomfort with situations, with anxiety, to just touch the necklace that her father had given, and it gave her something to do with her hands, so that if ever she felt uncomfortable with the things she had to say, she would touch her family emblem and it would make her feel all right. And it's kind of like a little code of like, if you see this, don't believe what you're hearing.
Okay. Marcia. One of the Hollow Hearts has arrived. One of the ones that can read, with a missive in fairly inexpensive paper, folded up and sealed, both by the seal of Tarly of Hornhill and of the personal seal, it seems, of somebody with a golden bear stamped in. Would you have this read privately? Would you take it? Or would you have this read aloud to Bryn as well?
She'll have to read it.
And so your page begins to read. Good people of the Reach, under the weak and corrupt stewardship of Lord Tyrell, a rift has grown between our kingdom's great houses and small homes alike. That division is at an end now. The Reach is one proud kingdom. We all know that war is arrived once more in our foothills and upon our doorsteps. We may not save ourselves from the call of war, but brother will not fight brother in the days to come. Lord Tyrell and his family, Lord Highgarden and his family, have been captured, and he glances up just briefly at you, are being held as wards until such time that war ends and peace resumes. The coffers of Old Town will remain under the stewardship of Lord Costain until such time Lord Highgarden Hightower may continue his duties. Lady Heroine has voluntarily been taken hostage.
What lord sends this?
He skips to the end. It is not signed, but it is the last paragraph. I, Lord Samuel Tarly, and his
Murderers
wife,
of the Reach.
Lady Mara,
Associated.
and his father, my lady.
Well. Is there anything in the final paragraph of note?
I, Lord Samuel Tarly, vow to be the shield and sword of the Reach, to care for its small folk and its land as much as I do its history and noble houses.
I, Samuel Tarly, vow to be the butcher and rebel of the South, with my difficult wife. Who will bring pain, blood, and suffering for the sake of wine and vanity. So it's begun.
Should I have this delivered to your solar, my lady, for future reading, or should I have this thrown aside?
Yes, leave it in my solar.
Very well, my lady. My lord.
Who knows when these words might come in handy. There is something of a joy in shoving vile words down the throat from which they came.
He bows again shallowly, and then he begins to walk out. It's only a few moments later that the great hall doors at the other end open, and steps forth a familiar friend and a familiar face. Enzo Sal walks in. Tom, how do we find Enzo in this moment? How does he enter? With his voice, presumably. You're on mute. That's all right.
Sorry.
That's all right.
So he'll be entering with a bottle of wine in his hand, And he wouldn't have his companions with him. This is a safe place in his eyes. So that he probably told them to kind of like, go around the castle, get a drink, find a bunk, blah, blah, blah. And he'll come in and he'll look at Marcia and he'll look at the little lord and he'll kind of like, at first he's kind of got the bottle in his hand and then he sees the little lord and he'll kind of hide it behind his back so he doesn't see it and kind of approach and he'll kind of do a bow to Lord Greenmont, Lady Marcia. It is... Words cannot express how happy I am to see you.
What news do you bring from Hornhill?
Oh, well, I could tell you here. We could go somewhere more private if you wish.
What of this rebellion that has begun? Marcy is just clearly just not in the mood.
And weirdly, like for his age, her son has kind of discovered that no fucks are given as well. And, in a moment where he is probably starting to feel like he needs to be a bit lordly, from maybe some of the rumours and some of the chit-chat that's been cascading down from Hornhill. He just says quite matter-of-factly, "We have heard as well, good sir. So please, do not spare us."
Very well. I will tell you what I know of what happened at Hornhill. The brief version. There was a wedding between Samuel Tally and Mara Oakart, or Mother... I don't know what happened. They were able to get married. I don't know. And it was going well. I went with Lady Rowan. It was nice. And then they started to kill the guests.
Kill. Who?
Well,
Who was among the dead, and
I do not know.
how many?
I don't know. All I know is that once the killing started, I left. I had to get out. And so I did. Not everyone got out. I don't know who's alive. I don't know who's dead. But all I do know
Someone summon my huntsman.
is that they were killing people. That is all I know. I have heard tales on the road, but I'm not entirely sure what is true or not. What I can tell you is that, Lady Rowan is still within Hornhill, where she was when I last saw her. And the guests that were there, I could tell you who was there. And I'm going to go through that because I don't know the list of lords and things, but I'll do, like Lord Leo and them and everyone else that was there that
Definitely.
I probably would recognize and know.
Yeah. Don't feel like you should know a lot of these names or all of these names, but I'll go through. I'll do my duty and I'll go through the list for you. People of note.
That's mainly the one.
Lord Leo, obviously, with his family, Lady Casella, and his son, Lord Peter. I would say that Enzo would name Sir Hugh Wheelwright, his the leader, the head of his household guard, Lord Tyrell's guard.
Yeah.
Tom, he died in the fighting, I would say, and it's up to you whether you want to name him as among the dead.
Well, it depends on where he died. If he died
I
in
imagine,
the main hall...
because I can't remember if we properly covered it in on screen, quote unquote, but I think he would have died kind of in the hall, in the corridors, trying to fight and defend.
So essentially, if anyone died in the main hall, I would know about. If anyone died in the bedroom where it all started, I wouldn't know about, because I don't know about that. I was well away from that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you would name Sir Hugh as among the dead.
Okay.
Next, kind of most important or level pegging really, Lord Hightower and Lady Rowan are both among the noted lords. So yeah, Lord Randall Hightower and his lady wife, Lady Shannon. So actually, for Millie, I think when I was speaking to her earlier, I think I'm going to correct myself that his wife is there with him and with you now. Where are we here? Lord Costain, Old Hot Chops, was there.
Hot Chops is there. Yep.
And I think you would probably name Sir Ellery pretty soon.
Yeah.
Sir Ellery was there.
Yeah, because I know Ellery from Myria.
From he was betrothed to her. Yes. So yeah.
Well, in my mind, she still is. I mean, I don't know any different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, rumors abound about who is dead, who is captive, what's happening. And Enzo, that's for your info. And then some of the lesser known people, Lord Caswell and his family were there. If you look on the map, they are the golden centaur on the white field. Right. And Sir Aubrey Ambrose, who on the map is just an orange field in terms of his heraldry with like a white chevron, a little white star. So kind of lesser knights, but they were there as well. I believe you wouldn't have known that. Okay. And Sir Tobin Hunt as well. Hunt are a liege a bannerman of the Tarleys, so they maybe were in on it, and you could probably spin it that way without much information.
They're bannermen of Tarleys.
Yeah. So they're like one rung down from.
Yeah.
They don't report to Highgarden, they report to Tarley. Tarley reports to Highgarden.
Yeah.
So. Those are the moves and shakers, really, from what I've got written down.
Essentially, a lot of influence in the Reach.
At least a lot of local influence, and then particularly Old Town, which is the city, the Lord Hightower.
I will mention that one notable lord that didn't go there. None of the cranes went to ease her. None of the cranes went, did they? So to ease that straight away, to make sure no cranes went, and that Sir John Oakheart and no Oakhearts were there either.
Yeah.
Just to keep you up to date, to make sure you get the whole picture. He'll just say, I'm afraid that is all I know.
Must have read Summer Hall. It's an army of butchers pouring out of Thornhill, it would appear.
I would imagine so very soon.
Lord Costain has seized Old Town?
I do not know.
And who is to know who's... No, I know.
Oh.
And she'll wave the page back over, who I imagine maybe stops in the doorway to hear the news from Enzo, and have him given the letter that she's just received.
Yeah, there's a bit of kerfuffle goes on. He goes back to go and get the letter at the same time your huntsman arrives. But yeah, he does indeed hand you the letter, which I can post to you as well.
Yeah, that'd be grand. Thank you.
I'll chuck it in our Letters of Ravens chat. Yeah. My message is too long. All right.
Oh dear. What, for Letters of Raven?
Oh, hey. Cut it in half then.
Could put it in as a handout on Roll20.
There we go. I could, yeah. I've posted it in our Discord, Letters of Ravens.
Enzo's probably looks at it, sees it's a bit, it's too long, I'll read it later. And he kind of, yeah, of course, yes. I see. You will forgive me, Matsia, but I do not. Politics of this scale is alien to me.
This is not politics, Enzo. This is murder.
Oh, yes.
This is war.
Yes, I don't do.
Brutality.
Yes, as you said, when the killing started, I thought it would be best to leave. So I did. And, this was the first place I thought of coming.
It's good. It is your home.
I'm glad I'm glad to have it. Unfortunately, I do not know what help that is to you. I hope it is. It helps a little.
You are a witness.
I am.
Great help.
I mean, Hornhill is not too far away from here, and I don't think you got onto the best terms with the Tarleys. You're not worried about if they were to come here?
Well, it would save me a trip. I have no fear of them.
Good. That's good. Would you mind if I stayed for a bit? I will hopefully be expecting a message sometime.
From the Lady Rowan?
From the Lady Heroine. She might have something that I need to do for her.
She raises an eyebrow like, okay. To whom are you loyal here? Remind me, what's going on?
I am loyal to me and my friends. You are one of my friends, Marzia. Do not worry.
Just this message you're expecting?
Do not know. It will either be a message that will bring joy to my heart or freeze it, whichever one.
The Lady Rowan is very cunning.
Yes.
To whom did she stand at the wedding?
Well, she was a little... She thought it would be better for her to stay, to influence things there, to... She's loyal to the Leech and Lord Leo. I think she felt that her place was by his side at that place, even in captivity.
Good.
I have to admit, Matzia, I do not know how much she still cares for Samuel. I cannot say that she would not side with him, for sure. I do know that she will do her duty to the realm. But whether who's in charge of the realm, well, that might change. I think the letter that I receive will give more light to the situation.
You'll let me know when you receive it.
Of course, and I can tell you what it is what is in there. It might be a little personal, but I can tell you the general idea of what it is.
Any news from Meria?
No. The last time I saw Melia was after the tourney, where she was heading into Dawn. I haven't heard from her since. I was hoping, actually, that you would have heard from her.
I'd hope that you had. You're always more popular with her than I.
Well, you know what Melia is like.
Yes. She's like her father. Now.
Never met him.
We have a lot of letters to write.
Would you like some assistance?
As I said, we have a lot of letters to write.
Oh yes, of course. Mate, I will get the wine, and we can
What wine is it you drink these days, Enzo?
anything that's wet and tastes nice. I'm not too fussy after recent events.
She'll turn to an attendant and ask them to bring her 3 cups.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll gently kind of stroke Bryn's hair. And the implication is he's going to get a sip. And that is all he will get. But he's being invited to the adult table today.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
To the huntsman, she'll give the request that
Yes.
she would like a doe brought to the godswood.
Okay. Will do. He bows low and then he heads off into the day.
So, Sam, my intention would be to send a message as quickly as possible to Summer Hall. I don't know if we have a neighbor with a raven or if we've actually finally acquired ravens. I don't think we had.
You haven't
the
yet.
last time. So I think we had a neighbor just across the valley, a Dornish house whose name I forget.
So to your south is Blackmont, which is currently under peak control. You have House Karen, and Sir Piers Karen is to your east, to your kind of east by northeast. And your other neighbour is House Tarly, and they do have a maester. Unfortunately.
And the Fowlers, right?
The Fowlers are
Southeast?
much further south. They're the little they're the
very
little
south.
kind of eagles or the ravens
Yeah.
down by the
Sky Reach.
south of the Prince's Pass. The Manwoodies are just over the mountains there, though. But to be fair, from here to Summerhall and a rider, you could probably do okay out of it.
Right, she'll get the letter done, and it is essentially a very short letter because she wants it done as quickly as possible and like the rider to leave at that moment. It
Yep.
essentially says there's an outpouring of butchers from Horn Hill, unsure of the dead, but Costain has seized Old Town, unsure of Highgarden. The rebellion has begun,
Yeah.
and Tarly leads the charge.
Yeah.
Do you, I don't know if it is needed, but do you want to wish to tell him who you have declared for? Don't know if that is needed.
I am fairly certain that this letter will make it clear we remain in support of the crown.
Okay.
And finally, wine is brought in as the letter leaves the hall, and Bryn tries to take just a little bit more than a sip from his wine, even though
totally encouraging him.
even though he does wince at the mouthful. But he kind of looks around him to see whether people are happy that he's at the adults' table or not.
Bryn, who would you write to next? Now that your uncle Makar knows.
Highgarden?
Who resides at Highgarden?
Well, not Lord Leo anymore. Didn't the
have
letter
a
say he
question.
was captive?
Oakhart cousin. I forget what his name is. Is he
Sir
still
Gawain.
alive? Gawain's still alive?
You've not heard
she
that
knows
he
of?
got killed or anything, or
Right.
captured.
I couldn't remember if he was killed in a battle at some point or anything, so
No,
as far as I know,
he.
he's still
It's very,
Leo's bestie.
as you know, he is still Leo's bestie and very much alive.
Alright, the Lord is not there. I can assume his wife isn't either. What other close associates do you know of, Bryn? Who advises Lord Leo?
His Lord Treasurer is Lord Hightower, but he's captured too. His steward and he, searches for his teaching, as I search for the handout. His Stuart. That's right. It's Sir Gawain Urquhart.
And Bryn, why would Sir Gawain be particularly interested in what Mara and Samuel are up to?
Lady Mara was married into the Urquhart family.
And she betrayed them. As she betrayed guest rights by having a massacre at her wedding.
He looks a little lost, like a child would, but he's trying to take in your words.
What would you tell Sir Gawain, Bryn? And she'll have a piece of paper brought over, and she's going to be the scribe for him.
That we are loyal, and that we were not captured, and that we could march there and take them back. He kind of looks for approval.
Sir Gawain, House Greenmont's rights to assure you of our position at Fox Hollow. We'll offer assistance within our means to Highgarden. Condemn the actions of the Tarleys. Must be careful, Bryn, with what we promise exactly.
And he kind of nods in vague understanding.
But you're right. And then she'll move on. And I think she wants to send a letter to House Peak. I'm guessing it's going to be Blackmont. He's based at the moment. So she'll send a letter out towards Blackmont. Basically, can you let me know what's going on with you?
Yeah, he's essentially got two holdings, Starpike to the northeast and then Blackmont to the south.
Well, Starpike's on the way to Summerhall, right?
It is, yeah.
So with the rider to Summerhall, can we give them a copy of the same Peak letter?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's essentially a, hey, what's going on with you? Let me know, Marcia, kind of a thing.
And it'll be written in Valerian. Just that little added extra security, just in case some common thug he gets jumped or something.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, yeah.
Enzo can check my Valerian.
Yeah, he's got an eye on it. And with Bryn, and he does that, Enzo will smile and whisper to him, I think that decision deserves a little more wine. Give him a little more wine in the glass.
Yeah, he asks, can I have a lemon cake instead?
You can have whatever you want, you are the Lord.
Then, kind of, with a half smile, he points at you and he says, get me a lemon cake.
I think you have servants for that.
Enzo, your lord has made a request for you. She's giving him the look because he's just said, you can have whatever you want. And she's thinking, I'm going to have to argue with this kid about bedtime soon.
Enzo will kind of get up and he'll do a flourishing bow and he'll go, as your lord commands. Now, I think I remember where the kitchen is this way. And I'm going to head off.
Yeah. You walk one way and then we see you cross the doorway to go the other way.
It's actually this way. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Mara. With the news of your ex-husband's release and your current husband away on drill with the army that is amassing outside Horn Hill, you are left somewhat isolated from the rest of the pseudo court here. Your guests, your wards, your captives, those under house arrest, even though they enjoy the grounds, they do not enjoy much of your company.
She probably doesn't try to spend very much time with them anyway.
Sure thing.
I imagine the only kind of lords that she is spending time with when Samuel is busy is probably Sir Ambrose and the other dude. Any of the ones who would sit on the war councils that were already Blackfyre supporters and were happy just to jump on the boat when it showed up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those guys.
Those are the people
Lord
that she
Caswell
spends her time with, because she, she is asking all of the time, have we had more letters? If any other houses have declared, because obviously we're still waiting to hear from a chunk of the Reach. And I think she's also waiting to see if that singer comes back. She's waiting to hear when Alistair arrives. But the first thing that she probably does after waking up, after the night of the Milk of the Poppy, is penning that letter to Alistair herself. She doesn't have anyone write it for her. She writes it and signs it, and probably takes it to the Maester to have it sent out as fast as possible.
Where would you like to send it to?
I think she sends it.
So, like, I imagine like carrier pigeons, these birds are trained to go to places. So they would go
I think
to
she sends it to
Highgarden,
Old
or they would
Oak.
go to Old Oak.
Because she imagines that's the first place he's going to go back to find out what's going on, because he's going to have to go and kind of organize house after his father died. It's possible he might detour to Highgarden, but she reckons that Old Oak at the very least, you get there, see what's going on, probably see his mother too. And then, because he's not going to know what's going on at Highgarden or any other major place, so that would be where he gets his information from. So that's where she'll have it sent.
Sure. Cool. Okay. Aside from that, is there anything that you would like to do, or that you would like to, any kind of information you would like to get out of your counselors?
I can't remember who we left in charge of kind of checking to see who had declared in the general whispers. Was it Lord Caster something?
So there's Lord Caswell, and then I think maybe the way it was essentially being played last session, Don I think was entrusting Sir Aubrey Ambrose a fair bit, and he was the one who kind of had the info.
I think she'd probably go and see him first, because she would like to go and see Lady Faye, but she wants to find out, if there's any more news before she does that. So she'll go and find Sir Ambrose.
It doesn't strike you as strange, but at this early stage, he unfortunately doesn't have much other news. What he does find interesting, however, is that Highgarden seems unorganized. A missive has not gone out to us, its bannermen. And unless I am not party to such things, I believe that you and your husband have not had a herald from Highgarden entreat you for ransom or negotiate for Lord Leo's release.
Not yet, not as far as I know.
Then perhaps they are as disorganized as we thought. And
I would assume so.
I would hope that throwing Lady Casella into the fray there will do just as much.
Well, if we don't hear anything from them in the next few days, and I suspect that they are not even thinking about sending anyone out, so we should beat them to it. Send a rider, a raven, whichever seems to work best and gets there quickest, and ask for the ransom. I'm sure that you can speak to Samuel about how much we should be ransoming the Lady Castella back for.
I would likely go myself with a guard, and perhaps it would be it would show more of an open hand if we were to take the lady herself with us.
If you feel safe doing so, but I would hate to lose somebody who's going to be so instrumental to this effort.
My lady, we still have his lordship, Sir Leo. We still have Longthorn. While we do, Highgarden is paralyzed.
I have no problem with you going if that's what you wish, but Sam will ultimately calls the shots around here. Seek his permission, and if so, you can tell him you have mine.
I will entreat with him, but I would hope at least that we are at least on a more equal footing than just constantly asking for Sir Samuel's permission for this rebellion. It is everyone's rebellion, and ultimately we will answer to his grace, King Daemon.
Yes. As a note, something you should be aware of. Lord John Oakhart has recently passed.
My condolences, my lady. Did
There
you know
was
him
no
well?
love. When I was married to Alistair, yes. Can't say that I ever treated the man with very much kindness, but it does mean, however, Sir Alistair Oakhart is now Lord of Old Oak and will be released from his cell in the Red Keep. It's part of the terms of his imprisonment, 10 years or until his father's death.
The Oakharts were not wholly decided on the matter of legitimacy of the Blackfyre claim before.
No, they were split. They fought themselves in the last rebellion.
Do you know of anything deeper than that?
Alistair spoke to me about it once. Spoke about Daemon Blackfyre and how much he wished he'd been old enough to fight. At the time, I would have had him down for supporting the Black Dragon, but he has just spent 5 years living among the Red. And I am deeply suspicious that they would let him out in a time of war to a house that could easily be swayed to our cause.
They will probably use him for something.
I suspect so too, but Samuel is, despite everything, I think still fond of him. They were friends.
It was regarded, yes.
I have written to Alistair. I've sent a raven to Old Oak to request that he come here to bend the knee and declare for King Daeron and to surrender his armies to the host. I have no idea if he will answer, but I would listen out for news coming from Old Oak. I do not trust that man, not with anything.
While I am entreating with Highgarden, I will be sure to keep an ear to the ground.
Even if he comes here and declares for Blackfyre, I have no doubt that so much time in King's Landing, the Red Dragon will have its claws in him somewhere. And even if not, then he will be looking to put his claws into me or Samuel or whatever we're building here.
It's best you establish that as the truth now, before he then does what you say.
When he arrives, hopefully I can make it very clear what happens if he crosses us.
Very well. I'll take my leave. My lady?
And she'll wait for him to leave. She'll do the lady of the house thing where she's not the first person to leave the room. And then she will go to find Lady Faye if she can.
Absolutely, yeah.
Where would I find Faye? Is she going to be in her quarters or?
Depends what time of day it is.
Sam, what time of day is it?
You guys pick. GM always picks. You guys pick. When do you want to frame this? This is you're approaching her, so this is your scene.
I imagine this is like sometime before midday, because Mara would have sent that letter as early as possible.
Before luncheon.
Oh.
A little bit of tea is served.
Well, in that case, Faye is probably in her quarters or the area surrounding it, but it would be that very social situation with lots of different people, you know, the wives of lords and some of the lords themselves and singers, and it kind of, I think as you enter, it almost feels like the wedding never even happened, that you've walked into a parallel universe where everything is still okay.
You can probably hear, like, I imagine if you've got, like, you know, an open door so people are coming in and out, you probably hear Mara coming before you see her because of the guards she walks around with, just like
Clink,
the sound
clink,
of
clink.
armored knights coming down.
It is probably, it's not like the sound is familiar, but the atmosphere is familiar because, well, like I said, from your perspective, people are obviously essentially prisoners here, even though they're treated well and they're guests. And Lady Mara is one of their jailers, and so they do not want to mingle with her. They do not want to talk to her. They will, and they're polite. But when you hear the chink of that chainmail in formation walking down with her through the courtyard, people start to walk away or break off conversation. Or start to huddle in closer to each other.
Mara would leave her guards at the door. She's not going to bring them in. She does the kind of, you know, the courtly smile as everyone kind of awkwardly regards each other.
Yeah.
Because nobody really wants to regard her, and she doesn't really want to do the same because it feels awkward, but everybody just does because that's normal, right? And everyone's going to be clinging to some sense of normalcy. But I think she kind of walks up to Lady Faye, doesn't really say anything to you at first. And she's got a kind of solemn look on her face. As she
the
just
second
kind of,
you got anywhere near, her posture would change completely. And it's this look almost like she's expecting something horrific to happen, but the smile is gone. Now this is formal.
Minstrels start to pluck just some ambient tune.
could we, and she points, because I imagine Faye, we would have given Faye one of the much nicer rooms that probably has a kind of nice outdoor balcony area. Mara would have made sure of that for sure, that, you know, she got a good room, and just kind of gestures out to the balcony, which for the sake of this, I'm going to pretend has got nobody on it.
Visible but empty. A visible but empty balcony. She'll just look at you with this kind of steel in her eyes. Really? What more do we have to discuss before I have agreed terms with your husband?
The quicker you follow me out there, the quicker you can find out. And like she says it, not even like she's not even being sarcastic. She like she has a tone that says she is tired. Like she's not even trying to present you with some fake, you know, interest or anything. This is just a woman who was like, I've just had enough already for today. Like, I'm not here to fuck about. I'm not here just to torture you. And Mara just walks.
I'll look about at the other people, like how uncomfortable they clearly feel having this woman in their midst. And she'll glance across at Sir Dennis and gesture out to the balcony as if to say, follow me, come with me. And she'll go out onto the balcony.
And Mara is just standing there, hands on the kind of stone railing, looking out at the grounds.
They will do the same, but a good 2 arms distance is away.
I feel like I should apologize, but I don't think it's going to matter if I do or not.
Do you only ever apologize if it's of benefit to you?
No, I usually apologize if I think it's going to make somebody feel better.
Good luck with that.
Oh, I think it would take more than luck. I wanted to ask you about something.
Hmm?
You spent all of your time at High Garden advising Lord Leo, surrounded by the lords that supported him most. How do you feel about Lord Costain?
I've heard some troubling rumors about the man. And anybody who so eagerly jumps into the grave of another clearly has their own motivations.
That was my thoughts on him too. He came to me as a friend shortly after Alistair and I were married.
I'm sure he did.
And it was him who gave Alistair the idea that Sir Oliver had committed a murder. And it was him who approached me to tell me that he could help out with putting somebody on the board for Alice's trial. I suspect that he was hoping that I would pick somebody that I would talk into favouring Alistair, which is not what I did. You know, I came to you and I asked you to be fair. I just wanted somebody on there who would be fair.
Well, in that, at least your judgment is sound.
The last time I spoke to Lord Costain was on the way down to Old Town, when he accompanied Samuel and I down there. And usually he's very good at making you work to give you any kind of information of what's going on. He was involved in everything that happened with the lords and the taxes with the Reach against Lord Leo. I remember because I sat in one of those meetings along with John Oakhart. But he wouldn't tell me anything that time at all. And much as I like Lord Costain because he is useful when he's on your good side or when he wants something, I worry about him sitting at Old Town and holding the purse strings. I do not trust that man, and Samuel does. And I can't seem to tell him that he shouldn't.
Why? Your husband and wife, are you not? Do you not speak openly?
We do.
But he takes Costain's word above yours?
Not so much. I think Costain just has a way with words. He's a very difficult man to dislike, even when you do know that he's likely waiting to stab you in the back at the first opportunity he gets. But then that's half of the court, anywhere in Westeros.
And several people not of the court.
And everyone in between. But while we may view things very differently, and while it may be difficult for you to believe given recent events, I have great respect for you, Lady Faye. And great respect for your politics, and your thoughts and your ideas and the way that you see things. And I want to know if you trust Costain to be in the position that he's in.
I believe Lord Treasurer is one of those positions where anybody who would wish to have it probably is the wrong man for the job. Gold attracts magpies.
That it does. I would very much like to convince Samuel to hand that role over to somebody else. But I don't know who we would give it to, and I don't know how to get Costain out of it without bruising the feelings of half a dozen Blackfyre lords in there who seem to quite like the man.
Well, I have heard whispers. You were in the room. Lord Caswell is in a mood of some sort for some reason to do with Old Town, and I suspect we can both guess what that is. So does he fall into the magpie category or not?
Suppose he would, if he's that upset about it.
Which, unfortunately, due to the guest list of your most recent event being somewhat less well attended than your previous, leaves you with only one solid option.
And that would be?
Well, unless you have a dozen other trustworthy lords stashed up your shirt sleeves, then
Not yet.
Lord Ambrose is the only one that springs to mind, but I get the feeling that Samuel rather requires him for a sound mind and a steady pair of shoulders in this place. It's full of people who want to create a drama.
Speaking of Sir Ambrose, I don't know if you've had the chance to speak to Lady Costella, but he will be accompanying her to Highgarden to ransom her back.
Very good. Probably one of the only lords in this place who won't irritate her. Or at least irritate her less.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about, and forgive me, I do not think that we are friends. I wouldn't expect that. But Lord John died.
I know. Everyone knows.
Alistair is coming back.
I'm sorry? What do you want me to say?
What would you say if I told you that a man who's been sitting in the Red Keep for 5 years was coming back to the Reach? Into a place that is filled with supporters of the Black Dragon. Alistair himself would have gone for the Black years ago. But now I don't know.
I would say that unfortunately, when I give warnings about things like consequences, occasionally they turn out to be right.
But if he comes here and declares for the Black, we can't trust him. You might be here and you may be abstaining from this war, but a rogue cannon like him, he's exactly the kind of man who would try to draw your armies into a fight.
I have no quarrel with the Oakhearts.
No, you don't. But if he comes here and he supports the Red Dragon, they will have quarrel with you. Do you really think the Crown are going to be happy about the fact you're abstaining? They're going to look at it and say that anyone who isn't with them is against them. So I'm just warning you that there is a viper very soon to be in our midst.
So why exactly are you warning me of this, Lady Mara? Do not pretend that it is out of the goodness of your heart. You have declared for the Black, and if that were to occur, it would be to your benefit. You would also get me out of the way. So what are you getting at?
Samuel cares about you. And the last thing I want is somebody walking in that ruins the terms that we have made.
Yes, wouldn't make you look frightfully bad. You better keep a close eye on me, Lady Mara. If anything were to happen, people would think awful things about you.
I have people keep an eye on you because Samuel cares about you. You are important to him, and therefore you are important to me.
Well, by that logic, you should find Lord Costain important as well. I think we both know it goes deeper than that.
I suppose I'm asking for your help.
a favor.
Call it whatever you like. But I would very much like to see somebody trustworthy in charge of Old Town. Not a man that nobody here can truly trust. And I need something to show Samuel he can't be trusted. We have armies and soldiers, but I would hazard a guess that after your years at Highgarden, you have something a little more subtle.
You expect me to frame the man?
No. I simply ask that if you think Costain can't be trusted, that you help me find something to prove that.
I have no doubt that given enough time, Lord Costain will do that job for you.
By then, it might be too late.
Hmm.
And frankly, Red Dragon and Black Dragon aside, he is not a man who should hold the power that he does in the Reach. Because even if this all goes wrong for us, Lady Faye, and the Black Dragon loses, and the Red Dragon wins once again, you best believe that Costain will find a way to worm his way out of all of the consequences.
On that, we can agree. If I do this favor for you, Lady Mara, what do I get in return?
What do you want?
Let me think on it. But first, I will require a private meeting with your husband so that we can discuss the terms of my surrender, my continuing involvement in the advice to him, and what that will cost him. And I don't want you in the room at the time to manipulate things.
She looks.
You will try.
She gives Faye a long look, and it's not a look of like scrutiny or mistrust. It's just she's almost just looking at you, at this person in front of her. And for her, she's having a minute of remembering when she went to go and get Faye after the events of the wedding. If that's what you want, that is what you can have.
Well, that's not your payment. That's what makes this possible.
You are old friends. I'm pretty sure he's not going to turn down a private audience with you to discuss those things.
No, but you do have a habit of turning up.
That I do. But if that's what you want...
It is.
Speak to Samuel then. I'm his wife, not his secretary. I don't keep his time.
You might want to tell some of the other lords and ladies here that, because they seem to be under a misapprehension then.
The court has been under a misapprehension about me for a very long time.
So I see. Will that
I'm
be
never
all?
going. I'm never going to gain their favor. I know that. I'm very, very tired of playing courtly graces, Lady Faye. What has happened has happened. And it doesn't matter how I feel about it, I can't take that back. Samuel and I have put ourselves on a path now, and we have to see it through. But at the very least, regardless of how this war ends, I do want to make sure that whoever's left at the end of it don't start another.
You know my house words, Lady Mara. Our own fortune's made. You may see it as what has happened has happened. I see it as what has happened has been made to happen and will continue to be made to happen. So think very carefully about the choices you make and the reality you draw into being from now on.
I am well aware of that, Lady Faye.
And she'll nod and just leave the balcony.
Mara stays there for a minute, just contemplating. And then will very quietly try to exit the room. She already knows that she's killed the vibe in here. She doesn't wish to kill it any further by trying to make small talk with anybody.
Yep.
And she will probably leave the room, take her guards, and probably head out to one of the training yards. I imagine she spends a lot of time talking to the Master at Arms, just idly as he's, running drills, because she doesn't like being around the court. She prefers being out with the soldiers, where everything's a little more clear and less vipers in the grass.
Yeah, and he gives you some pointers about armor and weak spots, what to look out for to defend yourself. Not in an offensive way so that you should be going out and doing stuff, but just if you get caught in a corner.
I imagine that she'll probably change on the way down there into her armor and out of her dress, which she feels more comfortable in. And that's what she spends the rest of her kind of afternoon doing, is taking pointers from him.
Yeah. Yeah, as Susie mentions in chat, it's the armpit shot. It's always the armpit shot. That's what we like on this channel. Juicy fruits. Marzia, I would like to do a little bit more of a procedural thing with you. I would like to know how you have been managing Fox Hollow over the last month. I would love a House Fortune roll. You do, though, have the choice to not roll and to just improve. I believe it's just any resource by 1.
I believe we've rolled every time we've had the option to roll.
I do like rolling.
So I have a feeling we'll be rolling against.
All right, let's roll it.
I just need to look up what exactly I rolled for that.
Yeah. I'm going to share in our Zoom chat as well the spreadsheet. Yes, chat, the spreadsheet.
The spreadsheet.
Of the House Fortune stuff, the house domains and all their holdings and stuff. You're doing pretty well at the moment in terms of House Fortune. You've been managed to improve stuff a fair amount.
You broke at the moment though.
Yeah. Do you know we didn't actually record what you get out of holding a tourney?
I think it just costs us money.
Well, no. See?
Do we get reputation?
You get some influence. Yeah. So yeah, let me get the months and actions thing out. You held a regional tournament, didn't you? For the entire realm, and it was kind of divided between the Reach and the Northern Dornish Lords, because you wanted to try and grab some of that. Once the tournament is finished, prizes are awarded, and knights, ladies, and the rest depart. The sponsoring house gains +1 d6 influence. And a modifier of +3 because it was a regional tournament. So this would be 1d6 +3 influence. That is quite a lot. Bear in mind you spent 7 wealth to effectively increase your influence by 6. Yeah.
I rolled a 3 on the die, and then +3 was already included.
Beautiful. You now enjoy an influence of 46. That's actually pretty fucking good.
I mean, that's pretty in line with obviously being besties with, Maka and the Queen for most of the tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we literally had the Queen turn up. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You are turning some heads as a house now, and I've got to really figure out. It's a very, very interesting space to play where people are probably looking to House Greenmont to see how they respond to what's just happened. Even though you're only in a position where you have your son, his twin is warded to Summerhall still, and you are still regent. And so, in terms of family at least, you're not in as strong a position as some other houses, I'd say. They would have bigger families, they would have maybe a slightly more stable hereditary or lineage for the
I think
title.
we've also done well in conflict so far, so I think that's probably bolstering you know what, they've so far made the right decisions since the last Blackfyre rebellion. So
yeah, and you know, it's just a resource. Influence is just a word. It doesn't have to be political power. It can also be we just get the right things said in the right places. And Fox Hollow and the house itself does have a history of that. It has a history of little networks and you know, whisper campaigns and stuff like that. So yeah, you've done very well. All right. Please, for Charlie, I don't know if you heard this from last session. So it's a leap year in Westeros, and we are in the Strangers month because nothing bad ever happens with the stranger, right?
not in this house.
Not in this house. So for the Strangers month of 204 after Conquest, please roll me your status stewardship test to look after the house, and I then go to the table in the random place in the book, and I have to go to a different place in the book to figure out what that means. No shade, Grain and Ronin, we love you. But what was it? 13? 13. So your house fortune rolls are modified by the Godswood. And I love the Godswood because it is a modifier of plus 2d6 minus 6. So it could go well or it could go bad.
3.
A positive 3?
Positive 3.
Lovely. So what's your
4 and a 5
overall
on the
result
dice.
then?
So the overall will be 16.
16. Get me PDF back up again. A 16. A 6. Okay. So what resources, what kind of things about the house would you want to be trying to improve?
I think wealth would be nice. Our population is still super friggin' low.
Population's okay. That's not giving you a bad modifier.
But I think for her it's either going to be wealth or power at this point, right? She's known war is coming. Like ever since she left Highgarden, she basically told Mara, you know, I know where this is going. I can see where this is going.
So unfortunately, a 16 is curse.
Welcome to how Marcia rolls every time we do this.
It's not terrible. I think it's only a -1 to a resource. Let me just check. Here we are, noble houses. A curse is indeed reduces 1 resource by 1 to 3 points, or 2 resources by 1 point. So based on what you said, I'm going to lower wealth by 1, just because maybe you've had to spend out some stuff, some money on some stuff, and I'm going to lower power just by 1. As you consolidate maybe you could consolidate your guard to try and keep them loyal and all that kind of stuff. Maybe there's a little bit of paranoia seeping in. What's the investment so far on power? 11 for the personal guard, 8 for the archers,
19.
which makes it 19, and 3 for the guerrillas.
2.
22. Okay, so we're on 23 still. So you
And then we're on our 1 overspend on wealth because we've got 20 for the Iron Mine, plus 8 for Kyrie is 28, plus 5 for the Godswood is 33, and we're on 32 wealth.
You are going to have to lose, not like in a permanent way, but you're going to have to lose the benefit from one of those things. We can work it out later, or if you have an idea of what isn't going to work so well.
What I was thinking is, as the year's progressing and like the weather's been bad, what if the Iron Mine was shut off? Like, there was a collapse in the mine. Some trouble like that, and then maybe we just lose the Iron Mine for now, which is a problem because it's a major resource for us.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm going to strike it through on the spreadsheet just so that we know it's still there. It's just we can't have kind of access to it.
But just for narrative purposes, I want to keep Kyrie and the Godswood.
So that is going to bring your house modifier to 0, and then the 2 to 6 minus 6. Okey-dokey. All right. Thank you very much. What? You don't have to answer me now because we're going to hopefully be having a house action kind of session on Saturday, which is obviously completely optional for everyone here, and we'd love you to join us as well if you're watching, if you fancy it on the Saturday. So if you have an idea now, we can chat about it if you want to message me, or if you want to pop along on Saturday and work on it with us as well. Do you have got an idea for a house action at the moment? Obviously, we've got like managing resources, so you can convert some resources into something else, but it's quite prescriptive. You can start a hunt, you can try and host another tournament, maybe. You can manage resources, you can begin projects, wage war. War? Okay. Have a strategize, think about where you want to hit first.
An action I'd like to do
Uh-huh.
that. I want to deploy the Greenmont archers to go and shoot the ravens coming out of Thornhill.
I like it. I like it.
Gonna cut off their comms.
Yeah.
Obviously at the risk of losing the entire unit, but that's what Matsu's gonna do.
Super cool.
They're a very cool unit, and goodbye ravens. Until they're killed, you know. I think everyone knows Greenmont is not gonna sit by.
Absolutely.
I'm hoping they can do it subtly for a little while. Like the instruction would be like, don't go out in full colors.
They're basically going, they're going on the sly. Yeah, absolutely.
But that would be my war action from us, yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Let me write this down. Ravens out of Thornhill. Fuck, amazing. Okay. And again, before we start to wrap up, Faye, you have a few kind of procedural info gathering-y type things you want to do as well, don't you? Beautiful. Why don't you roll for me a knowledge streetwise check. The difficulty for this, let me just find it, because it does have a little guide to that. Depending on how long you take, I'm going to say that you've probably got like a week to find some stuff out. So the difficulty is only going to be the routine 6. So that's the target number that you're looking for.
Okay.
If you
Still might not be very good.
Oh, okay. You might have some bonus dice and stuff in chat as well. You got 2 bonus dice and a test dice in chat.
But I think given things that have recently happened, I might need them.
It depends how charitable chat wants to be, and it depends on how badly you want this information. To be fair.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
It's all good.
Okay.
Let's just go.
For each degree of success, you'll get an additional question. I will give you some like surface level information across all of the questions you've asked me in Discord anyway. Yeah.
Okay. No. 10.
A 10?
Yeah.
He's just shy of 2 degrees of success. So you'll get an additional question. However, some of the basics. Okay, let me go back to our Discord thing. Maybe you can help me by reading some of these out as well.
Sorry, I did just fire a large amount of like, in the downtime, she'd be doing this.
Totally. No, I love it.
What was it? Oh, yes, the big
Lord
one
and
was...
Lady Ambrose. His wife admired your work at court. Got to admit, that's probably just me vamping at some point, but I'll take it. I like it. Yeah. What are they like? Okay. So Aubrey Ambrose is quite a reserved man, and like I said, I think last session, he is not. Let me find my notes there. He's not one to be, in with the kind of jibes and some of the kind of courtly political teasing that's going on at Hornhill. So he's a bit more reserved in that sense. His wife, I did write some info down on the knight in question, my lord. Ambrose, here we go. Lady Grace Ambrose. she seems very reluctant to be mingling with the Blackfyre supporters. She also doesn't seem to be that approving of what her husband is doing, even though she is here. But I will give you that at a surface level.
Okay, she's my new friend.
Okay, cool. And remember, you'll have one question as well, a freebie question of some really incisive information if you want it from me. Caswell, what's he like? He is quite an eager beaver, and he is a little pissed about not kind of being... What you hear is he's a bit pissed about not kind of really being out there, but he's also maybe got a little bit of beef with Costain. But there's something's a bit miffed about, and he's not quite sitting right with him. I mean, you saw in the War Council he was quite ready to kind of go up and at him, but yeah, you're not quite sure exactly what the beef is there. Lord Hightower, how is he coping since the events of the wedding? Is he alone or his family here? What you notice about Lord Randall is that he has a more oppressive watch on him than anyone else. He is basically he is under house arrest, effectively, and he is kind of one up from Lord Leo in the sense that a lot of the time he's just in his room, in his quarters, because that's the house arrest. He is afforded a bit of yard time, a bit of outdoors time, in order to, get the B vitamins, but he is under very close watch, and he doesn't mingle very much with anybody. And when he does, it's very, how's the weather, chit-chat. Lady Casella, you've already spoken to Lady Casella. You may have inferred quite a bit about how she feels at the moment. But by all means, if you have a question about her, you could use your question for that. And Sir Dennis, what would you have learned about him? What would you like to learn about him?
I've got the impression if my Game of Thrones, like Millie's Game of Thrones lore vague memories have escaped the ADHD whirlpool, the star that was on his surcoat is some sort of religious order?
Not a religious order. He just has a Ivy. That's probably me vamping again. I've forgotten. However, it doesn't hold any kind of real significance. He is not in that like pauper army that we saw in the series or in the history books. It is just the star of the seven. It is a 7-pointed star. It is just. It's like being a Christian crusader having a cross on your tabard. It's
right. Gotcha.
It's as significant as that, effectively.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he, obviously has demonstrated to you with no real reason to doubt so, a keen loyalty to you because he is trying to make up for what happened. He feels a personal responsibility to what happened to your father and to your brothers.
Can I save my question about him and have a think about it? Just because I'm trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah. Well, if you want to use your question for him, then we can save it up.
Gotcha.
If you want to use your question on one of the other people, then we can do that too now as well. Or if you want time to think about it,
Hightower.
Okay.
How so from what little I've got to speak to him and see him and what I know of him from the past, like how would this have, like, I know he's got not an ego, but he likes to appear better than he actually is, and there seems to be like a little bit of a weak spot there. But has this affected that? Like, is he feeling like he's just lost, like he's fucked up? Does he feel bad about this?
Yeah, absolutely. Don't think I've written them yet. No.
I want to talk to him.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, this is kind of the start of the wrap up. Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to talk to him, absolutely.
Yes. Hell yeah.
So one afternoon, he is somewhat enjoying at least a stroll through the gardens. He waves his hand to a couple of people as a sign of respect. He bows shallowly to a couple of ladies who, he's walking past. But the Tarly guards are really just like 3 feet behind him. Mm-hmm. 2 of them flanking his left and right, just behind him. And he is afforded really no privacy when he's out and about here. I would say if you wanted to try and approach him differently, if you wanted to do this more secretly, I am all ears and we can do some tests. If you wanted to sneak in to his chambers,
I think I've
or
pushed
if you
my
wanted
luck far enough when it comes to sneaking. I think that's sneaking into my own court with 3 sixes is the most I will ever do, and
Fair
I've used
enough.
up all my luck. So I'm gonna have to be sneaky in different ways.
Okay.
So I think she'd probably. Were you saying it was late afternoon, evening?
Yeah.
Okay. So she would go out to sort of knowing that these guards know her and know that she's basically got the run of the place, that she has Samuel Tarly's ear, that she's basically allowed to go wherever she wants. She would walk in the garden sort of almost in front of him, like deliberately cutting them off, knowing that that's the direction they're going in, and she's just sort of walking through the garden, drinking a glass of wine.
You can probably have figured out a routine too. But this is probably a fixed routine. He takes a walk at about 3 o'clock, because that's what he's due. And so he takes that walk, and knowing that the kind of man that he is for kind of procedure and for politics and stuff, he does stick to a regimen, even if one is handed down to him rather than one of his own making. But yeah, so he you walk in front of him, and he looks at you and just quietly, as he's continuing to walk on, says, "My lady."
"My lord, how do you fare?" I'll glance back at the guards and give them this disparaging look, like, fuck off.
Come on, fuck off.
At least just like take a few steps back, give us some privacy.
Yeah, they give you a stony look, both of them. One young and the other a bit older, with a kind of rough salt and pepper stubble. And Lord Randall kind of looks, he doesn't turn, but he, that kind of eye contact, looks behind him in a kind of, they're listening. He says, "Well enough, my lady, thank you."
Can't imagine the guilt you must be feeling.
He just swallows hard.
She'll kind of sit on back on one of these, I'm assuming there are like stone plinthy type, decorations, because gardens have those in castles.
Horn Hill, for some reason, I am thinking they are wood, like they're sculpted out of trunks. Like you've got kind of seats and little benches and stuff, and it's all quite kind of ornately carved in oaks and nice kind of trees from the north of the Reach.
In that case, she'd sit on the seat and gesture with her head for him to join her if he wants to.
He considers it for a moment, as it's out of his regime. But he eventually sits awkwardly, quite stiffly almost. One leg, there's no kind of relaxed posture. There's very much just both legs sat down kind of normally.
If you would rather continue walking, my lord, I can walk with you. I was bred in the country. We're used to it.
And the guards are stood where they were, so they are a bit further back now, but it's no more than 9-10 feet, if that. And so he just kind of looks at them briefly, but then looks down again and just kind of keeps his gaze not really at anything in particular. Just keeps quiet.
Yeah. And Faye will do the same thing. She's not looking directly at his face. She's looking out. I'm imagining like the sun just starting to set over the hills and just looking out at the future of what's going to happen to them both.
Yeah.
I feel bad enough, and I'm afforded far more luxury. I'm sorry that you were placed in the position that you were. Not just here, in Highgarden as well. That was an impossible situation.
I'm struck by your house words, my lady. Our own fortunes made, I believe that this maybe is my own as well. As my own actions over the last few years have really brought me to this situation.
Perhaps I can't imagine how I would cope in your situation. All those years of struggling to bring Costain to heel, and then being forced to betray your king and putting your family at risk, and now countless thousands at your word following Samwell Tarly into a war you know they won't win. If it were me, I'd be living up to my family name. And she points to one of the towers. If I were you, I'd be just
Yes, well,
take one last stab at Costain. I'm sorry, my lord. I just shouldn't.
no, it's quite all right.
Such things.
I am like you, my lady, a prisoner here. I have not betrayed anyone yet. You cannot truly commit betrayal if you are under duress. And he says that with some kind of almost air of authority about law and about like he's reasoning out his situation.
I'm not sure I have such options open to me. I want my life to count for something, Randall. And if I thought the kingdom would be best served by my death, I'd take it in a heartbeat. Now Costain has Old Town, and I'm sorry,
He does not have it
place.
yet. It's only been a matter of days since his departure. There is fight in the city yet.
It has only been a matter of days, and he has already converted 2 houses surrounding it, and who knows, countless more who have not yet sent their reply. On your word, your vassal houses are converting and will continue to do so, and them doing that will encourage more people to do it. And
Do you intend to press me, my lady, or is there some merit to your conversation?
I don't intend to press you on anything.
Good, then perhaps I will continue to walk. And then with 2 hands on his knees, he gets up. And he looks at his guards for 1 second.
My Lord Hightower.
He pauses and he turns around.
Our own fortunes made. What fortune can you make in this place? What fortune can any of us make? And she'll hold his gaze, and she can't tell if he's understood her or not.
I would like
the suggestion is heavy.
I would like you to make a persuasion test with if you have any bonus dice in Decipher, you can apply them. As this is about inferring
What's that in?
cunning.
Cunning. No, alas, no.
Okay, because this is kind of about conveying secret information, so I'm taking a stab at decipher.
Well, it's not really secret information.
Well, it's
unless
kind of
it's
innuendo,
me
right?
deciphering from him. Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
Or coordinate from will. Are you inciting him to do something? Because I'd take insight.
Yeah.
I'd take insight. I'd take insight from
Okay.
persuasion.
Oh, hang on. I thought insight was making somebody hate you.
It's making someone hate someone else, but I'd also take it as I am inciting you to act in a certain way. Provoking. Yeah. This isn't so much a convince, but I like the idea of the insight.
Is this just a single roll, or is this?
This is just a single roll for a kind of quick intrigue, and he's basically, we're going to see if he's cunning enough to figure it out.
Because it's not just that I'm trying to put the message across. It very much is, and you should do this.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a single insight. I get +2 on this.
Very nice.
And for shits and giggles, I'm going to take a bonus dice.
Okay.
And I'm going to take a keep dice.
Okay. That leaves you with 1 bonus dice in the chat. Please roll those bones.
So it's +2 to whatever this is. 23.
Okay. That is a exceptional result. So yes, you see a glimmer of understanding in his eyes. For the sake of the juicy fruits, Millie, if you want to tell us publicly what you want him to do, that's fine. If you don't want to, you can message me. I feel like there's something going on here.
I'll message you.
Maybe you want to keep it a surprise, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right. Because I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. I think it's one of our veils, but I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Cool. Well, I want to round the episode off with Marcia. With a doe delivered to you in Fox Hollow, I'm interested to know what you want to do with it.
She sits on that familiar log, which has a little bum indent from many, many moons of sitting here.
Many.
And she's going to begin to attempt to put her mind into the doe.
Yeah.
She is attempting essentially a skin change. Mechanically not able to do this yet.
Then I will let you try and just make it harder. It's usually a test like against the animal's will, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just check out the benefit again. It's normally... What is it normally called when you do this? Rather than
Wag.
skin changer. Wag. I remember now, yeah.
But in my headcanon, if you like, so I imagine she's been trying to do this with a number of different animals. Birds, she's tried quite a lot, and I imagine a number of times she's probably killed the animal trying to do this. And there's always the fear, obviously, of being trapped within the animal, which happened when she was transitioning with Salastria.
It's an opposed will test, so I will let you make an opposed will test. Let me find. I'm sure, being a published role-playing game book, they will have stats for something as innocuous as a deer.
They definitely have I think it's a stag they have, but that's close enough.
Yeah. Adversaries and allies. What creatures do you have for me? And I know that they have a bunch of other creatures too in a PDF. That's 7. That's a bear. That's a boar. That's a shadow cat. That's a wolf. Oh, and then there are steeds. Okay. One moment, caller. Why I find... What's it called? Something in the woods or something.
Wag.
No, the
Oh,
PDF.
there's like forests, or I've got it somewhere as well.
Sorry, chat. I'm just looking for a PDF.
I'm looking in my downloads. Hold on.
It's the core rule book.
It's one of the smaller side books, but definitely.
Yeah. It's like one of the tiny PDFs. Out of Strife is the holdings one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll use that a bit for those house rolls and stuff. It's like something woodland, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's woodland.
Oh.
I had forest. I think you're right. Woodland.
Creatures of the Woodland PDF. Hey, I got it. Okay.
Ooh.
Here we go. Falcon, elk, deer. Here we go.
Same.
Okay.
All right. Do I apply my dedication dice? Because they were required for the feat, but I don't know if they applied to this.
Let's do it.
Okay.
And I will give it +1 dice against you because you haven't got the quality yet. This is you trying to impart your consciousness into this doe. Difficulty is a 12.
20.
And with a 20, you slip into its mind, move its consciousness out of the way to the back of its mind, and you see out of its eyes. This is a prey animal, and so you have that wider field of view as your eyes are set on either side of your head, and that kind of rush of smell and slight taste on the air of just enhancing those senses as well. And things in the woodland now, as the sun starts to set, appear brighter to you as your eyes are wider and more brilliant with the dying light of the evening. And you see yourself. Your head flopped down on the bench, but you sat there still.
And I imagine the doe's eyes go to that shadow cat, who is literally Marcia's shadow. And the doe's eyes blink with its long lashes, and it takes off running. And Marcia wants to see if she can escape Salastraya.
Ooh. Okay. I would like you to roll for me, please. Athletics. This is going to be 4 dice, and Adir has got 3 bonus dice in run. And I will roll for Salastraya.
Okay, so you said 4 dice and 3 bonus, did you say?
Yeah, rolling 7 and keeping 4.
Does Marcia's inept apply to this?
No,
Okay.
because
So it's going to look like a persuasion roll, because that's the stat that I just have 4 keep dice.
okay, yeah, sure thing. And I am going to roll Salastraya's athletics for run 2 bonus dice. So roll 6, keep 4, 6d6, keep 4. And Salastraya, you feel after jumping and darting around the Godswood, stumbling and skidding, a bit like deer do sometimes when they're trying to turn and they're on some stone floor, off to the left as you then try and bound and escape out the side rather than going through the house, the stone kind of house, the human nest that you know, and you dart around to the left, past a couple of guards and a merchant who's coming up the pathway from the hamlet, and you're darting down towards there, but you know you've got to go left or right because there is more humans, more people down there, and people are always to be feared or always to be avoided. And then as you're trying to figure out which way to dart, you feel that clench of jaws on your back thigh on the right hand side, and it pierces with pain. The white hot needles of these deep, large fangs of Salastraya's getting down into there. A couple of claws start to wrap around you now, and with a howl, a hoot that deers kind of give, this kind of bark that they have, squeals out into the night sky, and do you make a conscious effort to stay here, or are you going to relinquish control?
She wants to release and return to her.
Yeah. And so with that pain, you don't fight it. That kind of pain, like a bad dream, wakes you up.
And her hand kind of reaches up to where she'd felt Salastraya on her body when she'd been in the dough. And
You kind of reach down to your thigh and your hip and to your back, and yeah, everything's in place.
And then her eyes go up to that tree with its always weeping face, always terrifying in its own little way face.
Its face now looks as if it is feasting on a bloody steak, its mouth drooling with blood.
There will be more blood soon. But it won't be shed for you. It'll be shed by our enemies. Be so much suffering. And she begins to go into almost a familiar prayer in her mind. It's almost ritualistic now, where she asks for the old gods to watch over the people of Greenmont, to give them strength, and to help her defend this place and the family that they have, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she'll basically make an offering of every raven felled by the archers. The words of their enemies silenced.
And with that, we wrap up our second session of the season. Thank you very much, fam. That was another juicy episode. Absolutely lovely ending too. I'm very, very glad to have you back, Charlie. It was absolutely beautiful. And I love that there's the threat of more. The threat of doing more. And I fucking love that house action, so that's going in, and we'll figure that one out on Saturday. Yeah, I've got a bit of rolling to do. These house actions and stuff, when you send other people out or your assets out to do stuff for you, I'm going to be rolling their stats, or I can be asking you to roll their stats, and then basically we'll see if they succeeded or they failed in your stead. When they fail, obviously that becomes a little bit of a complication. You know, it's not just going to be they didn't do the thing. You know, there might be some consequence. There might be something that happens because of that, and if they succeed, then brilliantly your plans come to fruition, and you get to influence the kind of campaign that's of war that's happening around you now. And it's going to be a pretty crucial one too, because it's going to be the first time where things are actually on the move, on the march, things are actually happening, and then we can get a bit more information. Like you're asking about what other houses are turning or deciding which way to fall, and what other houses, what other kind of larger forces within the Reach and the wider realms are up to. So yeah, all very exciting. So yes, we will be back Saturday, hopefully, with our house action stuff. Is entirely kind of an optional extra for all you guys here. So don't feel obliged, but it'll be absolutely lovely to have you. If not, I will sit here and chat through my spreadsheet with everybody, like I was doing before in the early times, in the before times, before the rebellion. Let's go around, do any little plugs and farewells before we sign off. And meanwhile, I'll furiously look for a raid, because I never do, and I'm really bad at that. Thanks all for joining us. Millie, thank you so much for playing with me again. So many juices.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you to returning player Charlie for making this happen, by the way, because I believe you're the person who suggested that I should maybe come and be part of all this. So thanks for working your witchy ways. This has been awesome. There's stuff going on now. I love every conversation I ever have with Mara. It's just so catty and horrific.
Yeah, those
and
scenes, girls, they're just fucking stonking.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I love all of it. And I love seeing Marcia coming back, and she's shifted a little bit as well. You can, yeah.
It's changed a little bit, grown a little bit. Yeah.
Won't be good.
absolutely. Yeah.
Poor little Enzo.
Oh, he didn't quite get his letter yet. No,
What letter?
I don't know. I think he's expecting something.
Is he?
Dunno.
Oh, it's a shame somebody shot all the ravens.
Well, maybe not yet. This is a bit timey-wimey. Things happen at the narrative pace, so that hasn't quite happened yet. You've got a chance maybe to get your letter out.
True.
What are you up to, and where can we find
what
you?
am I up to? Not a massive amount else, but on Mondays at 7 p.m. I'm over on The Wandering Inn doing our sci-fi show, Drifting. So it's just long form RP if you like Firefly and Cowboy Bebop and all that kind of stuff. It's just like juicy long form stupidness in space. I have not yet got my. We spent the whole last episode shopping for garden equipment and trying to buy time before we had to take off by wrecking things. So, yeah, come along and play.
Nice, yeah. I caught a bit of it, and it's definitely got that vibe.
Yeah,
I love it. Beautiful. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And V, thank you so much. What juice? Honestly. So much love. Oh, it's just great.
I love this game, and I love every scene I get with Millie. Because like the two of us just scream at each other in chat about the things that they talk about. And I think both of us are in this thing of like, wouldn't it just be cool if they could talk? But they can't. It just doesn't happen.
Well, right, both of us are very like confrontation, hatey kind of like. Certainly from my point of view, I can never be this horrible to anybody in real life. So the idea to get to do it with somebody else and both of us using it as this kind of fucked up catharsis is amazing.
Millie and I get it. We get what this Faye-Mara relationship is.
It's what you come here for, fam. Fucked up catharsis. I'll have that. I'll take that.
I can't wait to see, because obviously I know, because Donna's told me what he rolled when it came to, how much of the reach did we get. But it still feels really good, like last session when you're like listing off this house is declared, and it feels really good. It reminds me of like when Game of Thrones was good and you got to find out who was backing Dany as the end times came, and I love it. And I can't wait to see where this goes. And also, I'm so happy Charlie's back. I'm ready for Marzia to like get in and just sort everybody out and just like
Absolutely.
Every time Marzia's around, like shit happens, and I'm here for it, and I can't wait for the inevitable awkward meeting of everybody at Greenmont. Like I'm really hoping happens because it's
the family reunion.
You're all being sent to bed without dinner.
Yeah. The young single mums having none of your shit.
Mara would take being sent to bed without dinner over Salistria in her face again any day. Even if she does still kind of want that cat's pelt just a little bit. But I'm so here for it, and I kind of hope that Enzo gets his letter from Faye before all the ravens get shot. And I really wish that there would be a scene. I kind of wish that Alistair was a player character, because I personally really want to see the scene where he gets the really shitty letter Mara has sent him. It's so
talking about. I've been playing Alistair for fucking years. I don't know what you're talking about.
But you know what? Yeah, but we're not going to get like a scene where I, as Virginia, not Mara, get to see Alistair's reaction to that shitty letter.
No,
like,
because I want you to have the scene where you find out that reaction in person.
Oh, I'm ready for it. Mara's going to be sat there with a sword across her lap. There's a reason I put points in intimidation this season, okay? So I'm here for it. Just it's so juicy, and much as I love Mara and I want her to succeed and do well, I kind of can't not root for everybody else who hates her. I'm like, yeah, you go, Marzia. You message Summerhall and you sort this shit out, but also like don't, but do.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with these characters. We were talking about this the other night. They are so amazing to watch, and and to hate, but to fucking love what they're doing, and to love the scenes that are happening because of them. They're fucking amazing to watch. Like, and just hopefully we don't put you off too much with the facial expressions and reactions.
No, I revel in, like, I got to a point where I was like, I revel in the fact that everybody hates Mara. I kind of love that it doesn't matter what she does, it's wrong. Like, it's so fitting for, like, the situation she's in. It's great.
But this is the beauty of it. I can totally kind of get why she's there and what she's doing. You know,
She's trying. It's just not. It's a valiant effort, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not maybe
There's
going the
no
way.
shame with
And-
that continued valiant effort, right? She's
Yeah.
got no sense of like, I
She
should
is-
feel bad about that thing I did before, and maybe me doing this thing is worse.
She's the kind of person who will justify absolutely everything she does if it suits her. In a very selfish way, but in a way that's like, but I also care about these other people, and I kind of did this to care about them, and therefore that can't be bad, right?
Well, a big part of the fucked up catharsis for me is examining power, and there's a perfect example. So, thank you. Where are you? What are you up to?
I've been off streaming for a bit because life has been a bit hectic, but I'm hoping to be back either this Friday or Monday now that Curse Captains is over, because I really want to play some Mass Effect.
Yeah, you got to play that.
But I've also got back for blood, so you're probably going to see me shooting zombies at some point.
Of course.
And then otherwise I'm just working, really. So if you need someone for your TTRPG projects, you can find all my info over on Twitter.
She's a good one.
Please do hire me. It's please. Look,
She's
I've got
good
to
chat.
fund
If
my
you have
tattoo
a-
habit now somehow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Black Cat's endorsement for V. Do hire her for little projects you've got. It's well worth.
Go
I'm
sign
sure.
up to make sure you can get like pledges from Curse Captains of Cthulhu.
Do that
if you want
too.
to see my work.
Yeah,
do that.
well, there'll be plugs. yeah, sure. Nice one. Charlie. Oh my god. I thought you were about to do some fucked up blood magic at the end, but I liked where it went.
Well, if she'd have failed, then we maybe would have done some fucked up blood magic. But she succeeded, so I had another way of approaching what I was going to do.
Yeah, fair.
I also did contemplate just killing the doe and having its festering body shipped out to the Lady Tali as a wedding gift.
Nice. Yeah, here for that.
Hey, any wedding gift is better than no wedding gift.
You could still do that. There is just a carcass that Salastra's kind of gotten a bit of.
Yeah, it's true. This should be enough to feed your remaining guests.
Oh,
Maggots and all.
fucking love it. Oh my god.
I'll send it down to Leo. He deserves something pretty.
Stunning.
Something nice for himself.
Fucking stunning. Oh my god.
But yeah, no. Super fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super excited. I'm still like getting back into that headspace of like
Absolutely,
Game
yeah,
of Thrones
yeah.
dialogue, and I like honestly applaud the rest of the cast and how quickly and on point their improv is with carrying out Game of Thronesian style speeches at each other.
Yep.
It's brutal. I love the bitch off. That was everything. I'm totally here for watching Millie politically destroy everybody. I can't wait to see the outcomes of these things for sure. But it's been so weird. Like as I've sat here and we've listened to the game, and I keep having flashbacks to that happened, and oh yeah,
Absolutely.
sudden remembrances. So thank you so much for having me back. I'm super excited to be here, and
That's fine.
season 6.
Absolutely.
So Biggie.
Always.
Give me the one.
Always.
There will be blood.
Yeah, the last one. We're not going to stretch it out until it gets bad. I'm looking at you, Game of Thrones. We love you, but still. I wonder what happened to V's command, honestly. What's going on, Nightbot? Fucking hell.
But
I'll do yours now
Rebellion
anyway.
has begun.
Apparently Nightbot doesn't like Mara either.
No.
if you're catching up on YouTube, hello YouTube.
Hi, YouTube. Hi. There we go. That's your stuff. Awesome. You're playing Cowboy Dollies. Still playing Cowboy Dollies, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what Nightbot's doing. It definitely is Virginia.
You know what it is? Nightbot is just so disappointed
There you go, Nightbot.
in everything that the eldest daughter is doing right now. That he's like, you know what? No commands, straight to bed. Off you go.
Nightbot can join the queue, okay?
Let's team up.
Nightbot would like to beat boop the bitch.
Oh my god.
But I love you, Virginia, and I am super happy that I get to play opposition against someone who is so awesome. Same with Don and Susie. Although hopefully we can fix that because that won't go well. Oh. Yeah, I'm so excited. It's Clash of Kids, but also so much more complicated than that.
It always is. It always is. Thank you so much. Tom, you still with us? Just about?
I'm just about with you, yeah.
We're going straight to bed after this, I bet.
Yeah, most likely, yeah.
All right, we'll keep it short. I loved your little performance. Up on the tables, doing the fucking thing. That was great.
Yeah, I all through the week I wanted to actually write it like how I was going to say it and just read it out as I would.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was great.
Unfortunately, I just didn't have the energy or anything to do it this week.
All good.
So I had a general idea what I wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was still fucking great. And I've got to commend everybody. There's a lot more, it feels, this season of me relying on going, what do you guys want to do? I'll just set up the scenes, off you crack. And you know, I'm even without really prompting or setting you up or really saying anything, I kind of frame these scenes and then you guys know, oh, this is that point where I wanted to do this. Cool. I'm going to go in. This is where I want to spread the Harrowing of Hornhill. I'm in. Yeah. So thank you for that, because it is improv. I don't share much. They'll say they'll tell you I don't fucking share much. I'm not conspiring with everybody. They tell me what they want to do, and then I kind of set up the scene, and they're like, "Oh shit, it's this bit." Okay.
Well, that's it, isn't it? With a good game with a TTRPG, it's collaborative effort. It's not just the DM doing all the work and the players just going,
absolutely.
Well, what's next? What's next? You gotta, as a player, you take what you want to do and it assists the DM and vice versa. It's a collaboration.
Absolutely. And hey, the third part of that is the game, and the game has thrown us some fucking curveballs in the past. You know that more than anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Apart from Don, I think me and Don are tied on deaths. I think. No, I one up him. Because Alfred died twice.
Alfred died twice.
And Oliver only died once.
Greenmont. You can only die twice.
You know, I one up him.
I think you do one up him also because Don was the person who murdered you.
Yeah.
In the end.
I think I've got one-shotted twice in this campaign, and that was the two deaths of Alfred. Yeah. So the dice don't really like me that much. Well, they're okay for me for a while.
No,
and then
come on now. Don
really
Min-Maxer Fry, fucking he can't beat that. He stacked that deck. Come on now.
Yeah, that was game over. It was just bloody hell.
I'll just lie down here now, shall I? Okay.
Yeah. Give me the knife. I'll do it myself.
Just fucking hell.
Yeah, it's always good. Unfortunately, I wasn't the best today. So thankfully, it was shorter scenes.
Yeah.
But I'm sure next week I'll be over this for sure. If I'm on next week, and we can get into some fun. Depending on a letter. By the way, it's not. By the way,
next one.
You don't have to send it by Raven because I sent Ren to deliver the message.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. That was I know that. There was a little. There was a little undone wink between me and me and Millie there.
Cool.
Yeah, depending on a letter. Thanks for
the
title.
But it is sweet that you're making assumptions.
Depending on a letter. Well, it's just the thing. What I've said is that Enzo's kind of like in a hover zone at the moment. He's kind of like in the middle zone, because to him, it's a fucking war. Wars happen all the time. I just got to survive it. But depending on what that letter says, will drastically change what Enzo's going to do and what he's not going to do. It really does. No pressure or anything, but yeah.
Yeah, it's the particularly in RPGs, or especially this campaign, I've had to get over that kind of the not knowing. Is a space that you have to live in, and that's actually the exciting bit.
It's great. I really enjoy it. Yeah. I really enjoy being in that not knowing, and I've been able to do it quite a lot with Enzo because he's able to be a reactionary character, not really a planning character.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of fun. that's a lot of fun because you just think on your feet and you just kind of go, oh, okay, I'm doing this now. Let's go. And you carry on. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We've linked your Twitter, but are you streaming Phasmo, or are you just joining the folks, joining like Susie when she's doing it on Tuesdays?
Yeah, so I don't really stream much anymore. I might,
fair.
when I occasionally just get the mood, I might stream, but not really.
Mm.
But Phasmo every Tuesday with lovely Millie and at the moment Susie. I'm hoping eventually, V, you can come back. Eventually. There will always be a seat there for you.
If it's on a day that isn't a Tuesday, I can.
God damn it.
I mean,
Yeah, of course.
we
Club,
can.
yeah.
I miss you.
Yeah, we can have see what happens. I don't know whether all the others, but we'll see what we can do. But yeah, that's pretty much the only place apart from here. You know, I don't do much online anymore.
No worries.
Only the important things now.
Oh, Tom. Well, speaking of important things, Susie would fucking kill me if I didn't do the plugs. So let's go. We did a Kickstarter a while ago for the Spy game. You can see it behind me here. It's a published RPG. It's a 5e powered game of international espionage and action. You can get it right now at the Black Cats Gaming shop. You can also probably get it at local gaming stores as well. If you ask them for a copy, it helps us out because even though you might not buy it, they probably will. And that means we still get some money from distributors, which is very, very nice of you. So thank you for doing that. You can also check out soon, you can sign up at least for a notification for late pledges of our second Kickstarter, Cursed Captains of Cthulhu, which is a swashbuckling adventure all about taking on eldritch horrors in the high seas. So that is in development at the moment. James is furiously writing away, getting that to beta for everyone to test. And so you can sign up for a little notification about late pledges over here at a big old link there. Just follow that, go to the participate bit of the pledge manager, and you can sign up for that shout about when we are putting our late pledges live, when we're putting our pledge manager live. So if you missed it, then you can still get in on the action. We are back probably this Saturday to do our house actions, to do our kind of campaign actions. So I'll have whoever wants to turn up with me while I roll lots of dice. It's a little bit less dramatic and much more, did that raven actually get to that castle? So we'll be doing bits and bobs like that, as well as finding out where armies start to march, where they're ordered to go, and what's going on. So things will start to move at a pace, folks. So if you need to speak to people, then don't hang around because they won't. They're on the move. Not going to be teleporting like season 8, but at least they'll be on the move. But we'll be back with After the Fire every Thursday until we wrap up this portion of the campaign, and then that's it. So stay with us because then we're kind of done. Otherwise, we are back with Hexcrawl, which is our streamed game of the Spy game. It's our little campaign. We just got some character artwork done, and it is lush. Lynn did that for us. She's on the crew, as well as Susie, as well as Noir and Pope World Build as well. And I cannot wait to get back to that. We would have streamed yesterday, but I was just fucking shattered. So it's next week. Stop playing with my pen, cat. Let's go raid somebody. Who did I pick? I think Critical Bard was online. That is a person I follow, and they were up and playing Dead of Daylight. Let's go show them some love if we can raid them. I know that they had a thing where I think they'd stopped the raids because of the whole shenanigans. Yeah, that's not helping a raid. So we do have a little backup, I think. Roll for it are playing D&D, so let's go and show them some love as well. Roll for it. Beautiful. So please go show them some love, shout juicy fruits at them, make them confused, and please give them a follow and stuff because they are putting together some lovely tabletop shows as well. And And then come back on Wednesday when we'll be playing the spy game again. And we get to start the Born Supremacy bit of the campaign as opposed to the Born Identity bit where we figured out what was going on. Now they're going to go around the world and start blowing stuff up and finding out what's going on with the big bad people. So yeah, enjoy that. And hopefully we'll see you on Saturday, if not Wednesday or Thursday. So have a good week, folks, and take care of yourselves.